Good afternoon, everybody. Let's see if I can get this loading. And this is our first reattempt here. There it is. To do a fresh live after the last one where we had all our technical difficulties. So everybody cross your fingers, knock on wood, and we will hope for the best. I had a successful live last night with Jeff Lindbergh. So I'm optimistic that whatever was wrong is doing better by now. So I'm going to give a minute or two here and let everybody get a few seconds to hop on. Hi, Diane. I see you on there already. I'll give just a few more minutes. Let me know how the sound is and anything else as you pop on here. Got a couple people on. It's a sunny summer afternoon, so I know everyone's probably outside enjoying the sunshine. I know as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to go out and go for a quick little walk is my plan. So a few more minutes here. Let everybody catch up. Diane, it might just be you and me. Hello from Atlanta. Let's see, Atlanta. Oh, sound is good. Good. Oh, hey, there we go. We got someone else. Hi, Cheryl from Texas. Hello, glad you could join us. Today I am making a card using, oh, hello, Natasha. Welcome. Um, so we have a new release coming out next week is the plan. Um, So a lot of times when we're about to have a new release, I find myself, hi again, Natasha, different profile. I kind of start to dig through some of my older stuff because I know as soon as all the new comes, I'm going to be all excited about the new and want to use all the new. So usually that kind of inspires me to kind of dig back through some things that maybe get a little bit forgotten or left behind. And lo and behold, I came across, well, first you saw the card. Inspired there by Laura Basson that we're going to kind of recreate today, change up the colors a little bit. But the die set that she used on there, it's called Jar Full of Hearts. And I cannot believe this, but it's probably one of the few items in my Pink Fresh stash that I've never used before today. So yes, enabling. That's my job, professional enabler. So I was really excited to pull out this jar full of hearts today and actually put it to use. It's amazing how I really make an effort when I get new stuff to try and use everything eventually. And the more we've done these lives and everything else, um, there's a lot less that I pull out. In fact, a lot of times it's like, oh, I've already used that, several times. I need to use something different, kind of break out something I haven't used as much. So it was kind of fun to pull out something that I hadn't used before. And that card by Laura was just so cute. Nice and clean, simple, classic Laura Basson card. Um, so I'm kind of excited to recreate it today. I did a little pre-die cutting just to kind of get stuff done in advance, but I haven't done a practice run. I haven't done anything else. I'm just gonna see how it goes. That seems to be kind of how our Tuesdays are starting to be. Um, so if you see a card by the design team that you're really curious about or you'd love to see me recreate and kind of change up the colors, please feel free to let me know here in the comments or send me a message on Instagram, anything like that. I'm just trying to kind of pick through cards that the design team has made that are kind of fun just to be inspired by. It's always fun to take a card and kind of add your own little bit of a twist to it. So um, always easily. Hi, Leah. All right, winging it. Yeah, yes, Jean. You'd be surprised how much I actually do that. So I don't have a sample card to show you. I just showed you the die set we're going to use. I pulled out a stamp set for a sentiment. Um, I shook up the colors. I actually just had my um, daughter. I feel like sometimes I get in a rut with colors, so every now and then I'll ask one of my daughters to, look through and pick a color combo for me. So they chose for me coral reef and passion fruit, and sky blue and summer shower. So we'll kind of see how those all work together. I'm going to use some of them for the ink blending, some of them to add some splatters, kind of like Laura's card. And then I haven't decided yet if we're going to ink blend on that die cut or watercolor on it. I cut it out of watercolor paper, so we're just going to kind of play and see what we end up with here at the end. Hi, Dana. Hi, Linda. All the time. All right, I'm going to go ahead. It looks like we've got a few people on, so I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around and we'll go ahead and get started since I don't have a lot more of anything, a sample or anything to hold up and show you. So we'll just kind of start going and see what we end up with. So feel free to chime in with ideas as it comes along, and we'll call it a group effort, right? Okay, get that camera rotated. All right, please, please cooperate here. Knock on wood that this is cooperating. All right, so I'm going to pull out just some of the um, stuff I decided to go ahead and use. Good. It's kind of how I just make sure the camera is centered and working okay. All right. So I went ahead and used from Stitched Rectangles, I used the smallest, just basic die. You could just trim the panel down, but there's something fun about a die cut edge that kind of makes a nice finished, um, I love that little bit almost of an embossing you get around the edge. So that looked like about the right size for the front of our card base. And then I have a few of these die cut, the jar full of hearts. And we'll grab a sentiment from this set here in a little bit. We will probably end up with some jewels or crystals by the end. Just kind of start going for it and see how things go. I think we'll start with our little ink blended background and then and go from there. Yes, and just following up on Leah's comment there, don't forget to share this and leave lots of comments. Leah will be picking a $15 gift card winner here at the end. So stay tuned for that, and all of those count as an entry. So I'm gonna try here. I have not tried this yet, so usually I use a piece of printer paper, but I have this silicone mat that I got from Ranger, and it kind of sat in my stash and got pushed out of the way, and I forgot about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who does that. So I thought I'd give it a little bit of a go here today and see how I liked it for ink blending. And I've got some white printer paper still on hand as a backup just in case. All right, so I'm going to start here with my nice light sky blue. And I'm just using one of the new mini ergonomic blender brushes. And we're going to just kind of blend. I noticed on Laura's card, she kind of did mostly one color and then blended in that bottom corner with the other color. So I'm going to kind of follow her her example on that one, just with different colors. So we'll see how we end up here. But I thought it'd be fun to go with the blue up in this corner, and then I'll rotate it around. I love these ink blender brushes because I feel like it works really well to get a nice, even, and soft blend. So one of my biggest tricks, tips, I guess you could say, would be just use a soft hand. You can always go over it and you can keep kind of layering the color up and adding more color, but you can't take it away. That's something that's always hard to learn, and you kind of want to just, go for it and put a ton on right off the bat. But it is way better just to kind of gradually blend on and just keep building up your color as you go along. Okay, let's call that about right for the blue there. And then I'm going to switch out. Yes, I know, Dana, aren't they great? And I was so excited when the minis came out because sometimes you just need a smaller. I do love the big ones for backgrounds, and I thought about using it for this, but this is kind of a small background, so I thought I would just go ahead and yes, Linda, they feel like they don't make my hands. Sometimes I do a lot of ink blending um, and just to make sure everyone knows too, these are not ours. These are from Pink and Maine, not Pink Fresh. So I just love them. So I'm kind of sharing about them. So, but it's not something we sell or have in our store or whatever. So, but no, I've been super happy um, with them as I've used them. And this ink, hold on, let me coral reef there. I think I forgot to say that as I pulled it out. So I apologize for that. And I kind of thought these colors, and I'm kind of seeing it as we start to put them on here. Um, Kind of thought as they blended together in the middle, we'll end up with a little bit of a purple tone, which is kind of fun. Try and pick colors that'll kind of mix together um, in a good way, kind of to be pleasing in the end. It almost makes me think right now of let's see, patriotic colors. I don't know. We'll see how as it comes along. All right, I think I'm going to keep it just like that for now. Kind of the soft colors for the background. But what I am going to do now, and I really liked that silicone matte too. That seemed to work pretty well. All right, or cotton candy. That's a good. If I'd done green, it probably would have felt like watermelon. There we go. I had to think about the words I was wanting. Let's go ahead and add some splatters on here. Again, kind of like Laura did on her version. And I'm just going to use, I could use liquid watercolors in coordinating colors, but I'm going to use the next shade darker of the ink pads. Um, just because those will dry really, really quickly, which will be great. And be really easy just to color coordinate. So this one was passion fruit, and I'm going to pull over a little bit of water and just a little small brush, and I'll use that to add those splatters on there. So let's start. Okay, it's always hard to know how many am I getting on there. So I had a little more on my brush than I thought at first. So, and Elizabeth, I will let Leah answer that next question there about ink panel. I know they're, as with everything that's out of stock, it's all on order, so it's just a matter of waiting for the manufacturer to catch up and get it shipped. So, okay. So again, you could do this, you could add these splatters with liquid watercolors as well. Okay, I'm going to add a good bit of the blue because I need a little more up there. Oh, I love the texture once you add splatters. I love ink blending, but then the splatters to me just moves it up next level. All right, and then just because, let's see, I think this is the right one. I have too many little sprayer bottles. So this is just white acrylic paint that I have mixed up with a little bit of water. You could just do it on this clear block like I did the ink colors, but I do this enough that I keep, oh yeah, that second Leah linked it, but that was Summer Shower for that deeper blue, the splatters. But I just keep a little bit mixed up in a little mini mister bottle just because I use it so much that I find it kind of speeds things up for me when I'm doing things and I don't have to pull out my white paint. All right, and this is nice and thick. I don't know if I fully mixed it together. I just went, because Laura's card looked like it had so much lovely texture on there. So I'm just going crazy on the splatters here. The colored ones. And yes, that's one of those fancy yogurt jars for painting. They're just the perfect size and they're so inexpensive for, you get the yogurt and then you get the little jar. The only thing is every time I peel the labels off, I get stickiness that bugs me. So I finally just started leaving the labels on. But yes, I do use those all the time. All right, so here, now that I've got that done, can you see all of that texture and fun background? So much fun, I love it. All right, I'm gonna show that again, just a little closer. So I'm gonna set that aside. Again, by using the dye ink, that dries almost instantly on here. That white paint's gonna take a few seconds, but again, it also won't take very long at all, which is kind of why I did that way. And then I have this jar full of hearts. Set that off so I don't mess it up. And I die cut it 2 times, and it die cuts so easily. My plates are so crazy warped, and I just need to replace them soon. But I think it's a small size and they just cut perfect right on the first try. Even this one is done with watercolor. Hold on, let me pull out. This is just Tonic Studios watercolor cardstock that I've been using lately. And I die cut it once out of that because I was thinking we might go ahead, and I think I will. We're going to add just a hint of color to this with watercolors. Why not, right? So again, we're just winging it along the way. So, whoops. So let's set my two white ones out of the way. And then we'll just get this one with the watercolor paper on here. And then I've got my little paint palette. And I don't know, let's see. I'm thinking, pretty sure bubblegum's going to be the color we want for the pink. And it's only going to take a dot. These are super, super concentrated, and I only want to add a little tiny hint of color. And then, of course, we're going to need a little dab of green. So for this one, let's do key lime. Again, just the barest little drop because I just want to add a tiny bit of color. And then maybe let's do some sky blue as well. That'll be for the jar maybe. Okay. And I probably still have way too much color there because these are super nice and bold. And let me pull out, I'm just going to leave out those colors I use so I can kind of lay them down there and you can hopefully see them as we play with it here. You didn't miss. We're still just kind of getting rolling. All right, I'm going to use my slightly bigger brush. Let's go kind of medium-ish size there. All right, so again, a hint of color here. I'm going to try it on this little mat. And we're just going to add a little bit onto those flowers there. And let's decide here. As I put it on there, I think I want to actually add a tiny bit of, oops, let me shake this. Tiny bit of candy apple as well, because I think it's going to blend in there a little bit better with the background there. Wasn't sure which one exactly would be a good match, so we'll just blend it in there and add a little, round out the color a bit with that. Okay. And again, can you see, I mean, I barely touched those colors, and we got so much great color on there just in that few seconds. Okay. So there's the heart flowers, whatever we want to say on there. And then let's do a tiny bit of green. And again, little tiny bit's going to go so far. Okay, a little bit on the stems. Super easy. Hello, Carla. Glad you could join us. And then last, finish off with a little dab of sky blue, and that'll just hit the jar a little. I think that's kind of close enough to what Laura did, and I'm okay with just kind of bumping the colors together, letting them blend a little along the way. Okay, so there we have that. I'll give you a little closer look, and let's just kind of set it so you can kind of see how it works over the top there. All right, and then I think Laura just did a little bit of foam adhesive behind that, but I'm going to go ahead and stack up the die cut layers because I think that's going to be an easier way to get that dimension on there. All right, so while these kind of dry a tiny bit though, before I stack them together, that won't take that long. There wasn't a lot of watercolor. And no, Maureen, there is not. Our collection is still building, but the ones that we do have do coordinate. And the great thing is if you have one in each color family, like for example, the bubble gum, let me just pull that out real quick. If you look at how that coordinates there, that goes with that color. But because these are all in just different shades of the same color, if you water it down more, you're going to end up with that softer or closer to that softer color. And the more straight and strong you use it, the little bit darker. So there is one that coordinates with each color family, if that makes sense. And if you play with them, they'll the tones will match really well. So, um, yes, they can be reactivated, Cheryl. I've pulled them back and used them. That's why I try and put out so little because they're so concentrated. And then I can just add more if I need to. So that's usually kind of my plan. All right, let's choose a sentiment for this card, shall we? I'm looking at one of these ones over here. Um, I'm kind of liking the bursting with excitement for you. I think that's the one we're going to use today. So let's pull out a little bit of black cardstock and we'll follow along with kind of how Laura did it with this one. And I'm going to, need my bigger stamp block. I have to figure that one out. I should close the window. I don't know who can hear the garbage truck coming by out there. Sorry in advance. Okay, I'm going to use my embossing powder tool on the black cardstock here just to make sure I don't have anything sticking where I don't want it to. And pull out my embossing ink. And I think I remember mentioning this last week when we were heat embossing our sentiment. Um, I ink up my stamp really well, but I've learned you can use a MISTI as well. The main thing is don't feel like you have to stamp super hard. I just kind of lightly press down and make sure it's fully on there. I might have even pushed a little hard on that corner. We'll see as if I did, I'll redo it. But it the tendency for me is to want to push really hard and make sure I get a really great impression. The problem with a nice detailed sentiment like that is then you start losing some of the detail, which is just kind of sad. So I've learned gentle, just steady pressure, like just kind of rest it down and maybe fingertips to press down because the weight of the stamp block is going to do a lot of the work for you. So that doesn't look too bad. We'll see as I heat set it if I um, overdid it there a little more than I intended. So here comes the heat gun. It's okay, Pauline. I think I didn't even realize that right away because the watercolors came out first and then when the ink pads. And I remember one day looking at them going, oh, that's kind of the same name, which then seems like it would be really obvious, but it took me a little to pick up and follow that. So you are not alone. Let's see here. And I'm just using my paper trimmer to trim that into a nice thin strip. I'm almost wishing I'd trimmed a little more off the bottom, but I think we'll be okay with that. All right, we're starting to come together here. This looks like it's drying pretty well. And this I think is almost dry as well. Perfect, that's kind of what we want. So let's go ahead and start with this. I'm going to be very careful here and add some foam adhesive to the back of this because it looks like it's dry enough to be safe for that. And again, I could go without foam adhesive on this, but since we're doing a Laura Basson card, everybody knows what Laura's mantra is. Dimension is life. It's kind of become like a crafty saying that everyone seems to know. All right, let me just confirm here before I stick this down. Yeah, we definitely want to put that way. It contrasts better. So I want to make sure before I stuck it on my card base and then wished I had done it separate. Yes, Leah knows. Dimension is life. All right, before we put this down then, let's add that more dimension. So pull out a white, I could use that silicone mat again, but for this I'm going to use, oops, knock stuff over there, a little glue pen to adhere these together. So the easiest way I have discovered is just to start with the back layer and add a little adhesive to the front of it. This one's actually not as tiny and detailed of a die, which is probably why Laura just did foam adhesive, probably trimmed down to really small bits, I'm imagining from looking at her card. I know. My daughter has a really artistic, good eye. Keep telling her she needs to go into graphic design or interior decorating, some form of art. All right, so that's that first layer stuck together. I like to pick them up and then kind of maneuver them into place. I feel like I have better luck getting them where I want them. And then I can go ahead and do the same thing, add that glue pen onto the next one. And I just find it's easier than putting it on the back and then having to turn it over and hold it up with all the glue and everything, because then I can just put my clean one over the top, and that's so much easier. All right, let's get that wiggled into place. Make sure everything lines up. And honestly, you could stack as many layers of this together as you want. I have our top watercolor layer and then just two more of white. And I don't know if you can see as we start to put it on here, how that just, it pops it up off the background just enough to kind of just lift it off a little bit. It just, the shadowing and what it does to that is so great. I could still pop it up on a couple more and be good, but I'm going to be content with what we've got there and not keep going on. I know I love this little die cut, and I could use that glue pen again. I'm just, for this final layer, I don't need it as tightly adhered together. So I'm just going to add a few dots of a glue pen on here because that'll be adequate, and it's a little bit easier just quickly to put that on there. And I don't need it on every little spot there, just enough to hold the whole thing together on there. All right, and press that on. Oh, I'm so glad, Bonnie. Yeah, I've had so many just little intricate word dies that I feel like I ruined by doing them that way. All right, so now do we want to just trim this off there? I'm noticing it's about the width of that. Do we want to trim it to a little banner, a little bit wider maybe? Kind of feeling that. So the second glue pen, this was just a glue tube. The package is really worn off, but it's a Lawn Fawn, just the little liquid glue tube. The glue pen would work too. I kind of use them both fairly interchangeably. The glue pen's better for a little more detailed. When you're hitting bigger areas, the liquid one's easier. So, all right, let's trim this down to a banner, I'm thinking. Let's just go for that idea. Kind of get the width that I want there. And then this is how I quickly do banner. Pick a distance and just snip in from the center and then cut from each corner to make a sharp edge right to that middle spot there. And you have a perfect, easy banner edge that's going to be symmetrical and nice and easy. And same on this one. And there we go. That's my easy. Yeah, I kind of like that hanging over on this one. I feel like it's a good. And then back to the foam adhesive because we're not done with our dimension yet. And I'm just going to do a tiny bit of foam on each side where it's going to adhere on. Let's see if I got that good enough. Because it's going to kind of touch that jar in the center because it's already foam ended up. So yeah, Patricia, I've had great luck doing them this way. The main thing is I trim them both even on each side to where I want the edge of the banner to go. And then, like I said, just snip in the middle, straight from the outside. And it's easiest, I don't put my scissors like way at the back there to cut, just kind of plant them where you want, and then a quick snip, and then cutting in. That way works really well. All right. Rule of thirds. We're going to have to go, let's see. Center, nope. Thinking somewhere right around there. Let's do it. We're going to commit. I think I smudged a little bit of my white paint there on that, so ignore that. All right, we're coming together here. Similar, but different. That's kind of the best way to case a card. Have a little backing from my foam tape. So what do you think? Should we finish off here with maybe some jewels on this one? Barbara, I really, it was really interchangeable. The main reason I did the other um, on the back layer was I didn't want to have to put the glue pen over the whole thing and then try and pick it up and get my fingers sticky. This one I just put a couple dots in kind of some key places. So it was more to keep my fingers from getting dirty. So it really wasn't um, no particular scientific reason. I just didn't want to have to go get my sticky fingers off. So all right, I'm seeing some blue jewels there that looks like they coordinate really well. And then lighter pink or darker pink? I think I like the lighter pink since we're going with the lighter blue. Let's see what we come up with here. Thinking contrast the colors here. Put a few different sizes there. Oh yeah. And if we kind of alternate the colors. Oh yeah. So I use, Jean, I use both of those glues quite a bit, and I've always had really good luck with them. So let's see. Let's put that. I like to kind of use the little groupings of 3. Now I just got to decide. And I've tried so many, I mean, glues really do come down to preference. I mean, I could show you a ridiculous number of glues that I have on my desk. And quite frankly, I use a lot of them, and it's not even that I like or dislike any of them. Sometimes it boils down to something as simple as, I mean, like this little glue pen as opposed to some of these other ones that I have. I have them there, but this one's so much smaller, it's easier to just have in reach, if that makes sense. So sometimes it's just a matter of it's smaller, it's close, it's easy to use, and that's enough of a reason to um, make me more likely to use it more. So it's just as simple as that sometimes. All right, what do we think? A little closer to the banner there. I'm almost pondering that. Ah, apparently I do have a little glue on my fingers because that really wants to hang out with me or pull it out a little bit. I think I like it like that better. I could overthink that all day. See, and then here I'm going to pull out another kind of adhesive, and this one's more just because I have my super fine tip on my glossy accent, so I can use that to adhere these jewels. Oops, down. Usually I try and, excuse the word, usually I try and burp it before I adhere it to make sure I don't have a big blob of ink hanging out there like that. I don't know if that's a proper term, but I had babies and had to burp them, so you burp your glue too, right? All right. I think this is done. So, what do you think of this color combo? Kind of curious to hear what color combo you would pick. I'm always looking for new color combo ideas. So I love playing with all of the beautiful pink fresh inks to kind of come up with fun ideas. Yeah, this is one I don't think I've really mixed these two together. I tend to go a little more this and aqua or this and yellows and oranges. So yeah, I kind of like that. All right. So we're all done with this for today. I'm going to give a minute here for Leah to go ahead and announce a winner. I've already got, this is like the most ahead I've been in forever and a day. I've got my card ready for Thursday's Facebook Live. Do you want a little sneak peek? Because I could give you a little look at what's coming later this week if you want to. Are you ready? Just a quick slide by. That was your little quick look at what we're going to do for Facebook Live on Thursday. So make sure and come back for that. It's kind of a fun, we're using some of the pop-out stamps to do kind of a plaid pattern. And I'll show you another way that you can do it as well. But that's kind of a simple, just partial plaid on that card there. So, all right. And I see today's winner is Kathleen Dibner. Congratulations. You won today's $15 gift card. So you can email Leah, give a little time for answer. I know we're getting lots of emails at the moment. The next release right now is scheduled for August 14th. So we'll do Facebook Live this Thursday and then YouTube Live again next Tuesday. Next week, we'll postpone the Thursday to the Friday so we can do a release day video. So, yeah, Carol, that's cheating, pausing the video. That's okay. You can pause it. That's being being smart with the tools you have at hand. All right, we are done for today. Thank you for coming. Let me know, like I said, if there's cards you want to see done on YouTube Live here, inspiration, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you on Thursday, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. See you soon.